Nintendo owns some of the most iconic and recognizable characters in all of gaming history, and admittedly Bowser is one of, if not my favorite from the Mario franchise. But there is one problem, however. Former Nintendo employees Kit and Krista repeatedly stated on their podcast that Nintendo is very fussy about how you enjoy their games. They are frequently attempting to force you to have fun in a way that they want you to, rather than a way that you would prefer. As an example, look at New Super Mario Bros. Wii, where Player 1 is forced to be Mario, despite there being 3 more characters to choose from that play identical to Mario. But ever so slowly, I can sense Nintendo letting go. In Mario Wonder, you are no longer forced to be Mario, and fan-favorite characters like Daisy are finally getting more attention. Even Peach has seen tremendous character growth since the end of Mario Odyssey. She played a huge role in the Mario movie and is also playable in Mario Wonder. On top of that, they gave her Princess Peach Showtime, her first standalone game in a very long time. So that had me thinking, what other character is as iconic as Mario, Peach, and Luigi to be able to have their own standalone game and stand alongside them? If you clicked on this video, you know of course that today we will be designing a theoretical game in which Bowser is the main playable character. To start off, let's talk about some game basics. The title for this game is Bowser's Stronghold Struggles, and the genre is action-adventure. As for the premise of the plot of the game, Bowser wakes up one morning to find his castle has been taken over by the Koopalings, who are under the effects of an unknown magic spell, causing them to act out of character and refuse to let Bowser enter. Enraged and concerned for his castle, Bowser sets out on a quest to break the spell and reclaim his home that has also been invaded by an unfamiliar army. If we are going to play as Bowser, we need someone to play the role of the villain. The logical solution would be to make Mario the villain in this game. But that wouldn't feel right, and Nintendo would never have their little honey bun Mario play the villain. Instead, I believe they would need to invent a new character to serve as Bowser's adversary and rival. Bowser is a Koopa, or King Koopa, which are based on turtles, so I believe the design inspiration should be a turtle's predator. Following a brief Google search, I discovered a few alternatives. First, there are foxes, skunks, and raccoons. Although there are a few outliers, I've noticed that there are very few foes in the Mario games who have or could have fur. So since those 3 creatures I mentioned have fur, I'm going to rule them out. Alligators are another potential predator. This may be ideal since, theoretically, you could deploy King K. Rool and his gremlins. Donkey Kong is technically part of Mario's world, but I don't see Nintendo following that route either. However, there is one more plausible predator: snakes. They are built to be quick, agile, and intelligent, which would make a great contrast to Bowser's slow but powerful nature. I call them the Snake Squad. The Snake Squad is made of sleek, thin, serpentine creatures with scales that shine in a range of colors reflecting their unique talents. The colors could represent a variety of characteristics including speed, strength, and even magical skills. Their bodies are agile and move fluidly, allowing them to easily cross the castle's surface, making them effective opponents for Bowser. The Snake Squad serves as Bowser's primary rivals in the game, constantly challenging him as he tries to reclaim his castle. They are led by a powerful serpent general who is the mastermind behind the spell that has affected the Koopalings. Throughout the game, Bowser will encounter members of the Snake Squad in various levels, each presenting a unique challenge. As Bowser progresses, he will learn more about their motives and the source of their power, leading to the final showdown with the Serpent General. As for gameplay, players control Bowser as he navigates through various levels that are divided by floors within his castle, battling the Snake Squad, solving light puzzles, and overcoming obstacles. Before we continue, I just want to say one little thing, it'll just take me a second. Hi, my name's Akadrian, and I post weekly Nintendo videos, so if this is your first time here and you're enjoying what you're seeing so far, please consider liking and subscribing, and with that out of the way, let's go right back into the video. Next up, let's look at some gameplay mechanics, starting with the Snake Squad's moveset. The Snake Squad's speed and agility will require players to adapt their strategies and timing when facing them. Bowser will need to anticipate their movements and attacks to effectively counter them. The Snake Squad's intelligence means they won't just blindly charge at Bowser. They may set up traps, use environmental hazards to their advantage, and coordinate their attacks strategically, adding to the depth to the gameplay. Ultimately, players will face a diverse range of enemies, each with its own strengths and weaknesses. This variety will help keep the gameplay fresh and engaging, requiring the players to constantly adapt to evolve their tactics. But enough with the Snake Squad, let's talk about Bowser's moveset now. Starting off with the basics, I think it would be silly of us not to mention his just plain brute strength. Bowser's signature move is his brute strength after all, so he can use powerful punches, swipes, and ground pounds to deal heavy damage to the Snake Squad, especially when they get too close. Next up, Bowser could use his Fire Breath. He can use it to create barriers to control the battlefield and hit distant enemies. Against agile enemies, Bowser can use the Fire Breath to create areas of, denial, forcing them to either take damage or find an alternate route. As for more defensive options, I think Bowser could retreat into his shell to protect himself from incoming attacks, especially from the Snake Squad's quick strikes. While in his shell, however, Bowser can still move around slowly, allowing him to reposition himself strategically. Next up, I think he should be able to use a ground pound, but not just any ground pound, one that could create shockwaves. When performed, the ground pound, it sends out a shockwave that can stun nearby enemies. This move can create openings for Bowser to allow him to follow up with more powerful attacks. And finally, I think Bowser should be able to summon some minion support. So throughout the game, Bowser can recruit minions to assist him in battles. These minions can provide distractions, support, and additional firepower against the Snake Squad, helping to even the odds. I think by slowly unlocking and incorporating these elements into the gameplay over time, players will face challenges and opportunities for strategic thinking as they guide Bowser on his quest to reclaim his castle from the Snake Squad. But speaking of recruiting allies, let's talk more about the recruitment mechanic. First off, the recruitment missions, so Bowser can find imprisoned or stranded minions throughout the game. By freeing them, they will become recruitable allies who will assist Bowser in his quest. And I also think that there could be side quests, so some levels may feature some side quests where Bowser can help certain minions with, tasks or challenges, and upon completion, these minions may offer to join Bowser's team as a sign of gratitude. And finally, minion hideouts. So hidden throughout the game, there are secret hideouts of various minions. By discovering these hideouts and defeating the challenge that might be within them, Bowser can convince the inhabitants to join his cause. So now that we know how to recruit allies, let's look at a few examples of who we could maybe recruit. I wouldn't say this is a complete list, but definitely a good start, so here's kind of what I came up with. The first ally I think we should be able to recruit are the Goombas. So just as a basic attack, the Goombas could perform a simple headbutt and attack on the enemies, which isn't anything special, but that also describes the Goombas after all, so. And as a secondary skill, I think they should have a scout ability. So the Goombas can be sent out ahead to scout for hidden paths or traps, providing valuable information to you, or to Bowser I guess in this case. Next up we have the Koopa Troopas. As a primary ability, the Koopas can retreat into their shell and then they can be thrown by Bowser, damaging enemies in their path, and I think it would be also cool if you could be able to do like a bang shot off of walls. I could definitely see that coming in handy in certain situations. And I think as a secondary function, they should be able to do like a shield ability. And realistically, I understand that technically Bowser can retreat into his shell, but in my point of view, I would say that when he retreats into his shell, he can't be invulnerable. I think he should still be taking a little bit of damage. Whereas this Koopa Troopa shield can provide temporary protection from enemy attacks. And the final recruitable ally that I could think of is the Magic Koopas. They could use magic attacks to cast spells so that they can damage enemies, apply status effects, or provide buffs to Bowser and his allies. Or they could teleport short distances, allowing them to quickly reposition in battle. But as I mentioned before, I don't believe this is a 100% comprehensive list, just, a few that I could think of on the top of my head. So if you think of any, please let me know down in the comments. I want to see what you guys can come up with. But yeah, then at the end of each floor, I think it would culminate in a boss battle against one of the Koopalings, each with their own unique abilities and strategies. But now that we looked at all the gameplay mechanics, let's look at a few features we could see in this game as well. The two features I'd like to include mostly is multiplayer and customization. Another reason why I think the support minions are so good is because it kind of opens the window for multiplayer. Once player 1 summons the character, I think player 2 could play as that character. I think it would be a really fun way to slip in some co-op multiplayer in there. As for customization, I think there's a few things we could do here. First off, we could have accessories. Players could choose some different styles of accessories for Bowser, each providing unique benefits. Next up, I think we should have color palettes, something similar to Princess Peach Showtime, where you could customize Bowser's color scheme, allowing you to create, unique looks and versions of Bowser. This could include changing the color of his shell, his skin, and his spikes. Next up, I think we should have shell upgrades, so players could upgrade Bowser's shell with different enhancements, such as spikes or elemental effects, such as maybe ice or fire, or even technological upgrades that can enhance his abilities in combat. For example, as I mentioned time and time again, I think Bowser is more of a slow character, so it's more based on timing attacks and having powerful attacks, but maybe that's just not your style, so you could enhance his abilities so that he can maybe move a bit faster, attack a bit faster, stuff like that. And a little bonus one, I guess, is maybe adding taunts or gestures. They could just be a fun little add-on to have. It's not like it's a online multiplayer game where you can actually tease people with it or anything like that, but still, why not, Naturally, I think this gives a decent idea where I'm heading with this, but there are still many other aspects that would normally be included in a true game design document that we just simply cannot cover in a video like this, such as art direction or audio design, etc. Overall, I think this presents a fresh perspective on the Mario universe, allowing players to experience the world through the eyes of one of the most iconic video game villains. But now it's your turn. Let me know down in the comments if you would ever consider playing a game starring Bowser. If you enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate it if you would consider liking and subscribing, and until next time, what else?